today's episode of Delta Lodge Outdoors, we have John Soukup he's bass fishing with the Opens, and I believe he's still fishing the National Professional Fishing League. So, how are you doing, Mr. Soukup?
I'm doing great.
Thank you
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for having coming on with us. Like I said before we got started, just give us a rundown for people that don't know, who you are. Tell us about yourself.
Oh wow, I'm a flooring contractor from a ways back. My first word was fish. I grew up fishing, and needed to go in the workforce to pay bills, and so I laid tile for 20 years. And during that time, of course, I kept fishing, and just have been afforded the opportunity to actually chase after my professional dream of bass fishing through the invent of the bass tank. 2018, I fished the Force Wood Cup and broke down in the Force Wood Cup, and that actually started the whole idea of taking the bass tank in the electronics business. I had Live Scope on my boat as one of the first ones in the nation to have it, and knew that it was going to kind of change a lot of the fishing world, and so we focused on that for sales and install, and it's just kind of blown up from there.
That's an understatement, talking about it changing the world of bass fishing. I got a lot of my buddies that talk to me, and they're like, man, what do you think about all these big fish being caught, like in Texas and everything, for example? And I mean, y'all have had a few big ones come out of Oklahoma here recently, and I'm like, I was like, if you have the technology that they're using now, you can specifically target big fish.
Yep.
And it's like, you're gonna continue to see it, and it's like, I think we have the, I feel confident enough to, and I mean that it's gonna start breaking state records, and eventually I believe, like, you get in the right place with it, you're gonna be able to, they're gonna be able to break a world record due to having, Live Scope and Panoptics and everything now. I mean, it's crazy what it'll do. But you spent the while you was working doing flooring and everything, you just fished local bass tournaments and stuff and little jackpot stuff?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I grew up fishing. I did not fish. I mean, we fished. My first word was fish. So all I've known growing up, we had a fish farm, was I just lived amongst the fish and was a fisherman. And about 19 years old, taking care of responsibilities, I didn't fish for about, I would say, 9 years. I got married young, 21 years old, and put the fishing dream aside for a long time just to make sure there was food on the table. And I got back involved with the Bass Nation. I think it was around 2003. That doesn't sound right at all. It would have been 2007 or 2009. I got back involved with the Bass Nation, and my first year as Bass Nation, I actually made it to the Bass Nation National Championship. I fished as a non-boater, but you fished against the boaters back then. So I fished the Bass Nation for a long time and made it to a couple national championships, and just kind of worked my way up. Fished through the BFLs, and it was the Okie BFL Angler of the Year, and fished the Costas and made it to the Force Wood Cup. Fished the Force Wood Cup in 2018, and so it's just kind of just been a slow build, but really haven't had the opportunity to go fish, at the national level until probably around 2018.
Okay. And I think, I'll be honest, like, I first started watching and keeping up with you the first year of the National Professional Fishing League, so last year. And
last year.
And you won. What'd you win? The first and third? Their first and third, or first and fourth tournament, or second?
Yeah, the first and third. Yeah. I won the inaugural event. I actually drew boat one at takeoff on the first day, so I led wire to wire from takeoff, and it was pretty cool. Cool deal.
That definitely
and
is.
Then I won the third event. Yeah.
Yeah, the third event, like, you caught like back-to-back 7-pounders right there. And
I did on the final day. Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of what sealed the deal for you. I was watching the live when you did it, and it was just like, watching it, and you hit that first one, and I was like, dang, you know, like that's good. That might be enough. Like just watching, then you get the next one. It's like, yep, it's done. It's like, and I mean, it's just it's having the equipment and being in the right place and knowing what to do with your equipment is just it's a game changer. And that's what when I reached out to you about having you come on, because it's like I wanted you to be like you just like you did talking about the bass tank setup and like how and doing that. Then it's like coming in. This year you're fishing all 9 opens.
Yeah, all 9 opens and the MPFL. So I got 15, 16 events. Sure.
And I mean, in the opens right now, I think you got about a 30 or 40 point overall lead. I don't know the exact number right off the top of my head.
It's a 51.
51. All right, I was shortchanging you. I apologize.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I saw that, and it's like Ross Barnett was a tough tournament. Just Ross Barnett's one of those places that's when it's like I signed up to fish the opens this year on the first day within like the first 2 hours as a boater, and was number 98 on the waiting list.
Yeah.
Like after the 225, and I'm like, and it's like I knew guys that got in like that wasn't Bass Nation members, like just 1 year members and everything. It's like how they got in. I was like, I don't know. Like so, I was like, there's a reason for everything. This just wasn't my year to fish them. Whatever. So and it's like I'll take that as I'll take it as prep time. I'll learn. But it's like I'm familiar with Ross Barnett because I live 4 hours south of Barnett. It takes me about 3.5, 4 hours to get to Ross Barnett from where I live at. I live 4 hours from San Rayburn, and I live 4 hours from the Shreveport location. So it was like everything was 4 hours. It's like my wife's family has a place just south of Shreveport, so it's like we have a place up there we stay that's like 20 minutes, 30 minutes from the launch. So it's like this was perfect.
Oh wow!
And it was like, so it was like this would work out great, and it just it is what it is, and it was like. But I told my wife looking at it the first day when they came in, I'm like, looking at the weights, I'm like, that was a great day, but I was like, they're not going to duplicate that. I was like, that place, like, I was like 14 to 15 a day is going to put you right there to win it. And, because sure enough, like Lee Livesey had a really good tournament, It's like that 14 to 15 was right there where you needed to be. And it's like, you had, like you said, I think this was your worst outing of the year for the opens, but it was like the guys that were fishing there too, that have been fishing all 9 placed below you. So like, take it, that was a win. It was rough, but it was still a win for you.
Yeah, it definitely kept me in it. I'd like to have done a little better, but just kind of looking forward, not looking behind it.
Exactly.
I salvage the season. I went from 88th to 62nd on the second day, so
right.
I
It's
moved
like,
up when everybody else fell.
Hey, it's like when you get like you said, 60-something place finish and gain points, put a bigger spread on you. That what was bad could have been way worse. So it's like it's
Okay.
So the next open is where's y'all's next open?
It's gonna be on Oneida. I've got 2 MPFLs between now and Oneida. So
Yeah.
just a second, I've got a delivery guy at the door.
No problem, buddy.
It will take me just a second.
Oh, you're good.
How you doing, man?
Doing pretty good yourself?
Good. You can put it right here. There we go. Sorry.
Oh, you're good, dude.
I'm playing mama a little bit.
I was gonna say,
my wife's running some errands, and I'm
Mr.
holding my
Mom,
3-month-old miss when I'm on the road.
Hey, I understand. Like, I work for myself now, so I'm you know how that is, and it's like being able to spend the time with the kids is like worth all of the extra hassle you deal with working for yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's like I've worked for larger construction companies, doing road work and stuff. I was a concrete paving superintendent, but you were never home. It's like,
Oh yeah.
my oldest son, it was kind of like he thought I was his big brother that come in town to hang out with him. Something like, I'm like, dude, this ain't gonna work. Like, we didn't,
Yeah.
and it's like, so I was like, nope, I can't do this anymore. Then so it's like, then my youngest son, I've pretty much been home, so like working local, for myself since he was 2, so and he's 7, so like he doesn't remember me being gone. You know, so it's like if I leave to go out of town more like 3 to 5 days for like hunting or fishing, he's like, when are you coming back? Why are you leaving? So it's like, you know, he's like, or he's packing his bag. Hey, I'm going with you, Dad. You know, but yeah, that's what so you got, when is your next NPF? It's a couple weeks out.
NPFL, yeah, it's a couple weeks out. It's what are we in May now? So it's toward the last week of May on Watts Bar in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think we have about a 3-week break, and I go to Saginaw Bay in Michigan. And, you know, with all the events that I have going on this year and business and everything else, I really had to make a decision. And so early in the year, I made a decision that I'm not going to pre-fish or pre-practice any events. I'm just going to show up to them and take my 2 days, 3 days of practice and go at it. And I've never been to any of the lakes that I'm fishing this year. I take that back. I've been to Ross Barnett one time, 7 or 8 years ago. But you know, I've got Kissimmee back to back with the NPFL and the Opens, and I've got Hartwell. So I fished a couple, basically get a pre-practice for these events by fishing NPFL. So, but the downside to it is, you know, I'm doing a lot of, like Saginaw Bay, I'll weigh in Saturday around 5 o'clock, and then I'll get in my truck, regardless whether I have a check or not, and I'll take off, and I got 9 hours, 10-hour drive to Syracuse to Oneida to start practicing Sunday morning in Oneida, which 4th of July is Monday, so it's going to be kind of a mess. But
traffic's going to be horrible, I bet. I said traffic's going to be horrible, then the boats on the lake is going to be, wow. Like,
yeah.
Even looking at the schedule, that till you just said it now, that's never registered with me.
Yeah. So I just got back from a 5-week stint where I was gone. I came home, I flew home for 4 days during that 5 weeks, but you know, we had Cumberland and PFL, then we had Cherokee Opens, and then I drove straight to Virginia, parked my truck, boat, housed it out there, flew home for a few days, flew back, fished the James, you know, Sunday through Saturday, weighed in the final day on Saturday, drove straight to Saturday night through the night, Sunday morning to Hartwell. Got to Hartwell Sunday morning, just in time to start practicing. Fished the entire week there until Saturday, and then weighed in, loaded up, and drove to Mississippi all night long. Was on the water Sunday at Ross Barnett all the way through till Saturday, and then drove home. So that's what touring looks like, and you don't get as much time preparing as people think or want you to think, but you just gotta have to figure out the fish when you show up.
Exactly, and it's like, you know, and I'll hit on that, like, with, you gotta have, like you said, you got a baby that's 3 months old. You gotta have a very supportive home life to be able to live that style, like to be able to do it, and like, you know, so your wife's gotta be just as, you know, like, I know with mine, like, I got out fishing for several years, and I've got back into that and hunting heavy because I do this. I have a YouTube channel. Like, I go out of state to hunt and fish and everything. It's like, if I didn't have my wife that's like, you know, can hold the fort down for me at home per se, then I couldn't do any of it. And it's like
that's definitely how it is. And I don't know how many years this pace we can put up with, but the goal is paying on the line, qualify for the elites, and look at doing a traveling plan together where the family travels with us, doing a little homeschooling kind of thing. I don't know how realistic that's going to be, but we're just kind of taking it right now, one event at a time until that opportunity arises.
That's the same, like, the way myself and my wife talked about it. She's like, if you know, like, you go into that full time and you're able to get to where you want to go, and that's where you're at, then she's like, I guess I'll drive the motor home because I'm not pulling your boat. Like, yeah. And I was like, you don't want to pull a travel trailer? She's like, no, I want a motor home if we do it. I'm not driving it. I was like,
that's exactly what she said too.
And,
same thing.
I was like, all right. I was like, no different than driving a bus, I guess. You know, like, And she's like, I'll be responsible for that. I am not touching the boat because like pulling the boat because like something happens with that, then like it's a whole nother. I'm like, I get you, and but that's one thing like you said like it's you're gone a lot, and that's what a lot of people they think you get more time to practice than you do, but they also think that like you said like if you're not able to like the whole family travel with you, then you're not at home, and then that can create home issues real quick. And it's like, so your whole family has to be supportive of what you do, or it doesn't work. And that's what, those guys that look at you when you're doing it, and it's like, oh, it must be nice to be able to travel and do that. And it's fun, yeah, I enjoy what I do, but you don't realize everything that goes into it until you do it. And
yeah, at the pace we're doing it right now with two different trails. Yeah.
Oh, like I don't understand how John Cox doesn't like fall apart at the pace he goes.
Right.
Like that dude, like the FLW and the Bass Elites, and it's like, then he'll throw other stuff in there, and it's like, dude, like,
right.
That's impressive. Like I don't understand like how he manages. But you speaking of him, you run what type of aluminum boat do you run?
I run an Express.
I thought it was an Express, but I didn't want to say that and be wrong.
Yeah.
They're the aluminums are becoming like real popular on the tournament series. Like,
yeah.
What is what do you think's creating that? Just the technologies they've gotten into building those with, because they're competing with the fiberglass boats at all aspects of it.
Yeah, I think originally the draw for me was I love to fish really shallow, and having a super expensive fiberglass boat up shallow that you're going to trash.
Mm-hmm.
Just started losing the appeal of that, so it gave me that that opportunity to get really shallow really quick, and then just from that, I've just had a lot of success since I started fishing the Express, and so you get a lot of comfortability there. I live scope with the best of them, so I'm not scared to take that aluminum boat offshore and get out there and chase fish. So it's there's strengths and weaknesses either way. So it's just kind of a personal preference.
Exactly. It's like it's strengths and weaknesses in every fiberglass boat that's out there. But it's like the Expresses have gotten where they're a stable platform. They're a fast boat for what they are. Like it's you got guys with the 250 on those 21s running mid 70. Is what they're saying they're pushing. And it's like that's pretty impressive. And so it's like they've upped their game to be able to like compete. Then so it's been beneficial for having guys that like you said that want to get super shallow and not have stuff to worry about, and
right.
That boat creates it. So your goal is to make it through the opens this year and get that call from Bass with the invite to the elites, huh?
Yeah, 100%.
All right. So that's gonna be. So what you're saying, like, you finish in the top 3 in points, we ain't gonna have any question. We know that it's gonna be Bassmaster Elite Angler after that, huh?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. You ain't gonna have to think. You don't even have to think about it, huh?
I got the foundation behind me. Everything's.
Yeah. You don't even have to. You don't even have to think about that answer. It's a yes, huh?
Right.
Yeah, I understand that. So your goal would be hopefully this year, win one and qualify for the Classic. But if not, get on the elites and keep yourself in the points for a Classic qualification, huh? I mean, that's.
Yeah, I'm not too concerned with trying to win one and qualify for the Classic. I've been in the top 10 a couple times. The first time I was in the top 10, I kind of played the final day for this year. I was in the top 10 last year, but the top 10 this year, I kind of played it for points, and it really didn't benefit me at all at the end of the day. And so I told myself, next time I'm in the top 10, you're going to actually try to win the thing. So I really only, so I ended up in third at James when I was in fourth. But Kenta just had a tremendous final.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Final run at things, so there wasn't really any catching him. But no regrets. I just don't. I think that trying to win him is a way of kind of ruining your season until you're in that top 10. So I'm looking just to, come in with, try to cash checks. If I can cash a check through the remainder of the season, every event, next 5 events, that's pretty much a guaranteed invite to the elite. So
yeah,
that's more important. If you gave me a choice between one win and a classic or the elites, I take the elites.
Oh, I completely agree with that. And because I mean, one win and get to the classic, or get to the elites, you got a one and you got the top 45, 47 go to the classic. So I mean, you got way more chances of going to the classic that way than you do with the one win once you get there.
Right.
And it's like you summed up something well, like what you just said about being in that check cash line. It's like I had a guy I fished with something. We were talking about that one day. I'm like, dude, as long as I'm like this place or better, like I'm a draw check, I'm this place or better, I'm not worried about anything. And he's like, what do you mean? You're not, like you're not going to go out there and like you're not going for the win. Like then you don't need to be in this. I'm like, nope. I've got a long-term goal. I want to be in the points where I want to be at points at the end of the year where I can move up. Not, well, I won one. And it's like that one win here and there is great, but consistency in the top in your points gets you moved forward in this. And it's like, maybe I'm wrong with that, but that's kind of my thoughts on it, and you kind of hit on that just now. It's like if you can be in that check cash line or above every time, you're steady picking up pace. You're making money back, but you're steady picking up points. It's gonna get as long as you're rising like that, people see who you are. And it's like, and that's the game with this business. Like you win one, but you're a bottom of the half field. Like you get that lucky win, but the rest of the time you're like lower 50% of the field. Then it was a one-hit wonder. You got lucky. And it's like, that's not what you want. Like, it's like, if you're up there consistently, yeah, you're going to mess around and win one because you're up there consistently. But at the end of it, you look at that, that you're in 30 tournaments and you cash a check in 28 of them compared to you got 30 tournaments and you were in the check line 10 times. In this game, everybody looks at that. That's where you want to be. And that's how I look at it. And it's like, that old school mentality though was like they want to win it's like I want that win.
The wins are good, man. The wins are good. It's just you gotta wait for your wait
time.
for the right moment. Don't try to go out there swinging for the fence in the opens. And I mean the amount of time that you spend and effort and investment and family investment in it, and the goals, the points, and then
when it's your time, it's gonna happen. That's what I want to say it was like KJ Queen and I talking because I did a podcast with him a while back, and it may not have been him, but I know we talk kind of like that. And it's like when it's your time, you're gonna win. It's like you can basically do no wrong because it's there. But when it's not your time, you can do everything right, and it's still ain't gonna happen. And I think that I believe it was myself and him talking about that, laughing about it because I'm like, dude, everything's going wrong, but you're still doing good. And you're like, so it's like, you're having it's lining up when it's going like in your mind is going wrong with you get in at the end of the day and you're like, wait, I'm in this thing. And, it's like, but that's where the points thing, like you said, and it's like the National Professional Fishing League, I'm going to touch back on that. This is their second year. Their first year, went fairly okay. They had a bump at the end of the road, but they coming back pretty strong this year, and seems like they're going to have a year 3, huh?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I don't want to get too far into that, but they got their problems situated and everything should be good to go for a few years, huh?
Yeah, they just had a financial issue at the end of last year.
Mm-hmm.
They had planned on an investor coming in and didn't, and they didn't pick up more sponsorship money, so they were about to shut things down, and a new investor stepped up and bought ownership, and I think they got I can't remember if it was a 5-year, 7-year plan, something like that, based off of his investment. So,
okay.
It's been really, really good for me. It's helped put my name out there on the map, and definitely enjoy being a part of the MPFL.
Well, yeah, that's what I knew at the end of the year. They put that out, but you didn't they didn't put a bunch of information out since then about everything. So I was like, that's why I was kind of like, I didn't want to ask too much, and because I was like, I don't really know what they discussed, so I don't want to say too much. So I appreciate you clarifying that.
They took everybody that qualified for the championship. Championship was canceled. They gave everybody $10,000 check, split it up equally, and this year we don't have a championship this year. So It's just the league points. They got some money in the AOI, and so that's something they're working towards as a goal. Pick up sponsors and be able to afford to be able to do a championship.
Well, yeah, it's hard to be a newcomer in that world, like in that big level like that, because I mean, there's been many others that have tried and failed, and it's so like for them to even like the guys that took that role on of hey, we're going to start this and we're going to do this because like when they first started, it was putting the idea out, probably 3 years ago now, 4. Like I had all the information, spoke to them a few times and everything, and like we talked, and it was I didn't get involved the first year because I was like, man, I don't. It's like that's a good bit of money to put up the first, with a 2, and you had to sign a 2-year contract and everything. I was like, man, I don't really want to sign that. That was why I backed away from it because I was like, I don't want to, I don't want to drop $30,000 for 2 years guaranteed right now, and and that was where I was like, and I've kept up with it, and it's like seems like it's going pretty well, and they've got it like you said now. Obviously, if they got a 5 to 7 year plan, they got a good plan going and got a great idea. And that leads me into, I know last year like you jumped in I think the very last Open last year, or the last
Correct.
2 or something like that. Then this year, I mean that was to jump. Let's see, you pretty much had made your mind up at the end of last year when you got in that one to kind of jump in all 9 this year, or?
No, I mean, just the way things shook out, I wasn't even going to fish that Open Grand. I had fished in PFL on Grand, but in the season, and I cashed a check, but I just really didn't feel like I was fishing all that well, like I needed to. I wasn't fishing really open-minded, and I had a championship. We had the championship scheduled, and they had bumped the championship from our original schedule back a couple weeks, and it just left a hole there, and so I jumped into the Grand event. It's 3 hours from my house, so I jumped in and fished well. I was leading it after day 2. I think I ended up 4th in that one, and obviously that kind of spurred some thoughts about trying to qualify for the elites. But I had Yamaha reached out and gave me a sponsorship exemption. That's how I got into all 9, and so that was more of a winner decision of. To be honest with you, I've signed up for all 9, but I had told myself if I bomb 2 or 3 events and it's impossible to qualify, then I'm not gonna continue to do that because there's the time and effort. So, but the way things are going now, it looks like we're gonna roll out and finish the season with it for sure.
You stick with it now, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool because like it's like I said, I was gonna get into them this year, and it just wasn't. I fished one Open before. I actually fished as a co-angler in 2018 at Ross Barnett, and my first day I drew out with like a local, and he literally lived on the lake, like lived on Barnett, and our first stop, I caught like 2 fish while he's still tying, and they was both short, and he's like, oh no, and I'm like, what's that? He's like, I've never caught a short fish here. This isn't good. And it was miserable weather, and he ended up with like 5 short, barely 12-inch fish, and I had my 3. It was like 12 1/4 inches, like you barely, like, or 14, whatever the limit was. They were barely, I think it's 12 there. I don't remember, but like they were barely at the limit. You know what I mean? The next day I drew out with Blake Betts. Blake ended up, I think, 3rd or 4th in the tournament, and we went across the lake, and we're in a community hole. And Blake starts catching fish, like just nobody around us is catching fish. There's like 25 competitors around us. Nobody's catching fish. Blake's culling fish in like 30 minutes. And I'm like people are looking, and I'm behind him, like, hey, what are you doing? Like, and Blake ended up jumping from like 45th that day to like 4th. It fished the final day, and I didn't make that's when co-anglers still fish the final day. I didn't make the final day cut. And I came home, but I was like, man, that was the first Open I'd ever fished, and I jumped into it, like I said, like as a co, and was supposed to fish Oklahoma as a co the following like month, and life happened and wasn't able to. But like guys working, because when you have guys that work for you, sometimes just it don't work out, and so I wasn't able to, and I started back fishing local and just little small club and doing stuff, and that's what and I'd been fishing I got back into the ABAs last year or some, and I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm gonna sign up for the opens, and just was put on the waiting list. I was like, yep, I'm not gonna make those, and so I've been just doing stuff for like around, and it was like, man, it's, and I mean, you can elaborate better to this, but like fish, like you said, your first word was fish. It's either in your, it's like you either have it in you or you don't. There's no like, you don't just like it. Like you either love it or it's not for you. And
Right.
you know, and that's like, and tournament fishing is a whole nother thing. Like you can, it's a, I hate to use the word, but like tournament fishing is addictive. I mean, you know it. I mean, it's just, it's something that gets in your blood that you, because it's like, you're not fishing like, yeah, there's 150, 200 other people fishing. You're not fishing against them. You're fishing against that fish. And like, you're trying to outsmart him. And it's a, you know, it's a game of chess. And like, you go into that with the live scope and everything. That has made, it's made a world of difference. It's made it a lot, you know, but it's also at the same time, just because you see it, and you know, just because you can see that fish down there, it'll give you an idea of when you go back. Say you go past him with a bait and he pulls up to it and just, well, that didn't work. It gives you an idea, but that doesn't, just because he's there doesn't mean you're gonna catch him. It's not a guarantee. And you see that because it's like, you know, yeah, it's made a big difference because I put one. I have the Panoptics on my boat, and like I've, you know, the first time out in it, we were fishing a tournament in like August, so it was hot, and I stayed offshore all day, you know, and like I caught more fish offshore that day than I think I've ever caught. And I mean, I had a crick in my neck looking down the whole time. It was like, you know, but it was like, I'm like, man, this is totally different. We come in, it was one of my local club tournaments. Most of the guys didn't have much, and they're like, and I had a good limit, and they're like, man, you know, good sack, and they're like, what'd you do? And I was like, I was fishing offshore. Nobody knew I had put that on my boat. I literally put it on my boat on Wednesday, went and practice fished on Friday in that lake with it, and fished my tournament Saturday. I was still setting it all, trying to figure it out. Like I was watching all day on Friday. I was watching like videos and stuff, like setting it all, like trying to figure out exactly what I was doing with it. And I was like, man, this is totally different. I was like, I can see why, but like, you know, it's like, it's different. Like what was crazy to me is like, you know, you got your bait out there and you twitch it and you think you're barely moving your pole and your bait jumps like 5 foot underwater.
Right.
And you're like, I didn't move it that hard. And that was the biggest thing when I did that and realized how far I was actually moving it. I was like, oh wow. And that changed what I was doing and increased my ability of catching fish, because when I thought I was barely twitching and moving it, you know, I'm moving it 2 to 4 foot. And it was like, well, no wonder I'm not hooking up like I should be. And it was like, being able to physically see that changed how I was doing it and automatically increased my fish catching. And it's like, so it's like, you know, I think it's a really good tool. It doesn't, you know, and yeah, it helps you catch fish, but it helps you see what you're doing wrong to an extent. And I think it's, I mean, just, it's awesome. And then it's ever changing too. I mean, what Garmin's already I know Garmin's already came out with another one, and I think isn't Lowrance is there, and they're working on another one, huh?
I don't know if they are or not. I'm gonna assume they are, but I mean, since Lowrance came out with their first live, they have live side and active targets, so they've had 2 versions. Yeah. Garmin's had this is 4th or 5th version of Panoptics, 2nd version of live.
Okay. And so yeah, it's really cool. Like I was like, wow. And it's, I have to check. I might actually have live now. So I might have live on my boat, not Panoptics. I don't know. Like, you know, I bought it and put it on there, but I don't remember what I put on there. That's probably bad to say. But yeah. So your goal is to finish out this year strong, be in that top 3, take the elite invite. Once you take it, we're gonna, you know, you take it, you're just gonna focus on those like 9 elite events a year. I think the season 7 or 9, whatever. You're just gonna focus on those, or are you gonna fish any other? You gonna fish the opens?
Still be involved with the NPFL.
Okay, so about 15, 16 tournaments a year then.
Right.
Yeah, they're like you said, if they like with them, I feel like they got a pretty good. I liked what they were doing the first year. I've kept up with it this year. I think it's going to be because they're hitting lakes that a lot of people don't. The first year they hit a lot of lakes that you don't really see get hit with big things. So that was pretty cool to me. Yeah. Then let's see, for the Southern Opens, you have Sam Rayburn is what October.
You know what? That's it's actually Hartwell is the last Southern.
Okay.
I know it's kind of not really Southern, but it is. So we have Oneida as the Northern, and then we have the Upper Chesapeake as a Northern, and then we're done with those. And then it's actually the Centrals that are the Red River and Sam Rayburn.
Mm-hmm. Sam Rayburn is you said you've never been on it?
I have been on Sam Rayburn.
Okay.
I said the only one I've been on is Ross Burnett, but actually I've been on Sam Rayburn.
Sam Rayburn's fun. I was there when Derek Monday on the 1 day tournament for the FLW caught like the 40 over 40 pounds.
Right.
Yeah, like the guy in second place, like I felt it for him, man. Like he came in and weighs in, he's got like 29 or 30 pounds or whatever. It was a great sack.
Right.
And like you come in with a 30-pound sack, I mean, you're like, yeah, and everybody's weighing in like.
Yeah, you can't feel bad if you lost with 30-pound sack.
Everybody's 18 to 20 pounds, and it's like he comes in with that. You're like, really? Then like the end of the month, he fit the 3-day 3-day one. The first day, like he comes in with 12 pounds, and another guy came in with like 12 or 14. That in the second day, him and the other guy both came in with like 39 and 38. So they went from like 60th place each, somewhere down the 60s, to like first and second. It's like they basically both had 40-pound sacks, and it's like, geez, dude, like.
Yeah, that's how they fish it.
Yeah, that's those lakes. That's one of those lakes that, like, if you look at the numbers, like it's crazy. Like 3% of the, like, no matter the size of the tournament, 3% of the field is going to weigh 20 plus pounds in every day.
Right.
And it's like, and then it's like you could have, if 10 guys are fishing, 3's going to have 20 plus. It's like 100 guys fishing, you're going to have somewhere around, whatever the 3% number. So it's like, it's just 3 guys there. Like it's, and 10 guys is going to be like 1 guy. It's crazy. It's just, and it's got some really good fish there. It's one of those lakes, and that, the wind gets to blow and it'll blow up on you quick. That's what's different about it. Then Red River is just, it's river fishing. I mean,
yeah.
It's like we fished the nation qualifier. Ours got all jacked up this past year. We fished our one that was fishing in late February. We were supposed to fish in North Louisiana in late February. Well, the snowstorm hit or whatever, so they moved it down south. So we fished our south place in February, and when September rolled around, we were supposed to fish our northern one. That we was going to fish our second one, which was supposed to be south, but we was moving it north. Well, Hurricane Ida hit, so we didn't fish our second one until like the first week of December.
No.
And we fished it on Red River. It was like, and I was like, great. It's either going to be 30 degrees or 90 degrees. Like,
Yeah.
it's like you don't know, and like it's like you don't even know what to do, because it's like, okay, I can go out like the week of it. It's like, all right, it was 50 and it was like 40 to 50 every day. The 2 days of the tournament was 70 degrees. I'm like, the fish moved. Like, yeah, they're still here, but they moved around. It was like they went from being up in the like bush because they were out on the edges of it. It's like, it was just crazy. They just moved, and it was like, but yeah, it was one of those, and I was like, man, we fished the first one in like January the 28th, and the last one like December 4th, and I'm like, man, like. Then it's like, all right, as we're finishing up for it, they're like, hey, next month we're fishing our northern one for the 2022, and it's gonna be right here back at this landing. And we're like, really? Like a month later, we're fishing the same spot. But so I didn't fish them this year, and it was like, but they it's just different being like watching somebody that's like yourself, like. You really came on in the last 18 months, really is when your name's gotten like, out there for a lot of people to see. And I think, like I think it's cool to see what you've done in the last year and a half, 2 years, because like prior to the National Professional Fishing League did exactly what it said it was going to do. It brought new people in that people didn't really know about,
Right.
and it's showcasing a different talent that like a lot of guys wouldn't have got to, a lot of people wouldn't have got to see, and like I think that's cool that what they've been able to do, and look forward to see them doing a lot more.
Right.
So I know you got. Yeah, I don't. We've been going about. Let me see. I don't want to keep a bunch of your time because I know you're busy with your baby. We're around 40 minutes in. So I'm gonna start bringing it down if you're good with that, so we can let you continue to be Mr. Mom.
Yeah.
I mean that's so. With that, we got. Like I said, John Soukup here. You're sitting first in overall points in the opens. You're fishing the National Professional Fishing League. Looks like it's got, if it pans out, you're going to be on the elites. I think you're going to give those guys a run for their money because you like you started in this. You had a live scope before a lot of people did, so you've got a lot of experience on that, and it's really crazy to see how good you are with it. And and I understand, like I'll be the first one to say it. Just because you have it doesn't make you, doesn't mean it doesn't give you any more advantage. Like you still got to make them bite, and you've got that part figured out too. We give you time if you want to give a shout out to all your sponsors and everything.
Yeah, I don't even know if I can name them all right now, but obviously the Bass Tank's my title sponsor. So anything electronic will ship nationwide. So you can go to thebasstank.com or any social media. Yamaha Motors, Express Boats, Yum Booyah Baits. Signed with Alpha Angler Rods this year. Really enjoying the new Alpha rods. Pro Guy Batteries. We got Emery Saps and Sons. Actually, you talk about concrete work and road work and stuff. They're civil construction engineers. Working with them to actually develop a fishing tournament for them around Table Rock Lake in 2023. So
awesome.
Hopefully we get that thing off the ground. And I'm sure I'm unfortunately missing a few, but that's what comes to my mind right now.
Hey, that's it's good when you got so many that you can forget some. Like not good that you forget them, but it's good that you understand what I'm trying to say with that.
Yeah, I'm working with Beat Down Mount. That's one of the ones that comes to mind. I don't know if you guys have seen the tall telescoping mount for live scoping, but I've got that on the front of my boat for my Express, and that's nice. People talk about the crink in their neck, but I can lift my unit up 3 foot off the ground.
Nice. I'm gonna have to look at that.
So, do what?
I said nice. I'm gonna have to look at that. I hadn't seen it.
Yeah, Beat Down Mounts. Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, that and we're your next tournament is National Professional Fishing League. They can watch it. When is it? The end of this month?
Yeah.
This one should.
It is May 26th, 27th, 28th. It's at Watts Bar.
All right. I'll touch bases with you before on exactly when I'm going to put this podcast live. We'll go from there. Hope it may be out before then. I might shuffle some stuff around and put it out before then. That way, where I'm going with this, people can, if you listen to the podcast, you can watch the National Professional Fishing League at TNPFL.com.
Yeah, I just type in TNPFL fishing.
Okay.
And now the engine search has picked it up real quick.
Yeah.
It's the National Professional Fishing League.com.
Yep, and they
can. You can go watch the live online or actually on Facebook, typically during the events.
Yep, and that's what I was gonna say. You can watch it there, and I think one thing I will say about it, and it's their live is different than any other live you're gonna watch. It's not, they kind of they just can't let things ride. If you got guys having a moment, they don't really, they let them have that moment, so that was one thing I was like, oh, okay, cool. It's not like, it's not censored, but you understand what I'm trying to say. It's not like, It's not fake. You see the break,
No, they don't tell us, they don't give us any rules of engagement. They say you can behave how you want. Unfortunately, they say, they're not going to allow too much
Yeah.
stuff on it. So, but there's been a few things, but for the most part, yeah, they're going to show the whole day. They got 6 cameras and usually there's top 6 boats every day. So it's 3-day event, and we're fishing for $50,000. It's a $5,000 entry. It's not a not even an open. It's only $1,800.
Yep, and it's
for bigger money.
They have 6 of them a year, 5,000 each. I'm gonna hit a few things. Correct me if I'm wrong on it. Y'all, something that they did do, I don't know if they still do. You can tell me. I hadn't paid attention this year. I know last year, like, the first day was like a draw for boat numbers. The second day, the top guys got longer fish day or whatever. Like, it worked out.
No, it's a draw on day 1.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then day 2, reverse order. So now we're all even, right? And then day 3, there is no cut. Everybody fishes. But you go out in leader order. So if you're leading the tournament, you go out as boat 1. But the catch is, you get to come in last. So you've actually fished to earn more time. So you can actually get up to 2 hours more than the guy that's in last place by going out as the leader on day 3.
Awesome. And that's why I say correct me, because I wasn't. I wanted to make sure I got it right, and that was something really cool when I saw how they do it the first year. I was like, that's actually, that can be a huge momentum. Like, I mean, because you can potentially, like you said, gain 2 hours of fishing time, and it's like in this game, time is of the essence, and that's that's what I don't know if you know KJ Queen. KJ.
I just know of KJ.
Yeah, KJ was a trip, and we were talking about that, and he runs a Gambler. And he's like, I can run, and he gives me a speed. He's like, which means I can get there probably 10 minutes faster than most of the guys.
Yeah.
He said, which means they got 10 more minutes of run time each way. I get 20 minutes more fishing time. That's a lot. And I'm like, I was like, in the overall scheme of things, like, when you're fishing down to the last minute, that 20 minutes is huge. So, like you just said, 2 hours is, I mean, that's a quarter of the day usually. You got extra. So, that's huge. And it's like I said, people tune in to watch that. It's really, it's a different style. Like, it's regular 5-fish, style, but it's, format, but it's a different, your commentators are, you got Fat Cat Newton over here. Like, I mean, the dude makes anything funny. He seems like he could, make the show himself by himself. I mean, he's one of those personalities. So with that, like I said, we hit the sponsors, we hit the tournaments, and I do believe we'll see you on the elites. And good luck the rest of the year. I'm gonna keep an eye on, on everything, and we're gonna go from there. And like I said, you got that tournament y'all trying to put together for the construction company. I think that's awesome. I believe y'all be able to get that one off the ground without a problem. We're going to start winding this one down. I appreciate it. Give me just a second, John. We're going to finish out. This is John Soukup. This is Julius Craig with Delta Flage Outdoors. Y'all can listen to the podcast here. Also, reach out to us on Facebook at Delta Flage Outdoors or through YouTube. We have our own YouTube channel, Delta Flage Outdoors. So, thank y'all for your time.